take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
One of the things, Michelle, if you don't mind, we talked a little bit about it, and I hope you can maybe open up. I know, Candace, you didn't even mention that, but I think it's extremely important. Would you be able to open up a little bit about maybe self-image after something like that happens to you?
I think as women in general, we tend to value self-image maybe more so. I had always been pretty what I thought is low maintenance for compared to most women. On the weekends, I'd wear a ball hat and just put my hair in a ponytail. And I thought, oh, well, I'm going to lose my hair. No big deal. Throughout cancer, I remember one time I felt like I was literally a sheet of paper with 2 black dots for my eyes. I had lost my eyebrows, eyelashes, no hair. The perk of that was it happened to be through the summertime, the bulk of chemo. I didn't have to shave my legs. So I tried to think, okay, yes, I don't have to shave my legs. That's time, I can rest. But it does affect your self-image. And for someone that had never been obsessed with it or worried too much, that wasn't on my high priority, it suddenly became, okay, I need to somehow fix this. It still does, I'm looking at my rough nails right now. I lost some fingernails. And that's it can hurt a little bit. But there are so many ways to help stuff like that. Ice packs can help with that. And I don't know if you've watched I watched my grandmother go through cancer twice, and then she lost her second battle. Now with the medicines for side effects, they're nothing like what they used to be. So if it's been a while that you helped a loved one, there's so many aids to help make it better. As far as self-image, our local hospital, there was a lady, she doesn't do it anymore, but her name was Annie. And I used to say, I'm like, okay, I'm Humpty Dumpty, and she just put me back together again. And there would be times when no one else would know I was just really at my low and at my bottom, but Annie would. And I could talk to her, and whether I just needed to cry and there was no judgment placed, and she would literally put me back together. And when I was doing my treatment, I was doing classes along with working full time and going with my kids places. And at first they all were like, you've got to quit. You cannot do treatments and work. And I'm kind of proud of the fact that I worked every day throughout treatment except for one. And then on Thursday afternoons when I had my treatment, I was like, yes, I just had a really bad sinus infection and could not get out that day with everything else. So anyhow, a year later after I was diagnosed being free, and you think, okay, I've been diagnosed cancer free. I'm supposed to carry on. I should feel great. Well, I didn't. I told her one day, I said, I feel like I should just be on top of the world. I've gotten rid of cancer, but I'm not. And so I was able to talk to her. You're dealing with trying to get your family back together and whatever your new normal is. And your image, whether it's parts of your body that they may have cut off and tried to replace and it didn't go right, or your hair coming back and you don't know how to fix hair anymore. You're just trying to deal with all that. I remember when my eyebrows came back in, and I had wild eyebrows to begin with anyway. They got really infected, so it made my face look bad, or the back of my neck. Silly stuff that shouldn't matter because, hey, I'm cancer free, but yet I was trying to deal with it cosmetically. That had never been an issue with me before. I wasn't too concerned. Like I said, I just throw on a ball hat. So the good news is there's programs. One of them, they taught how to do makeup at our local hospital. And I'll never forget, she taught me, and this was the same person, Annie, she taught me how to draw in eyebrows. And my eyebrows had been really crazy, and they were kind of crooked. Well, my eyebrows are straight. But for someone that can't apply makeup, to be shown how to draw in eyebrows, which seems trivial until you don't have eyebrows, it's a game changer. To say I did my makeup every day like I was taught there, no, because that's just not me. But if I remember, my husband and I went out for his birthday, and I was able to draw in my eyebrows, and I felt, just really good that day. So they teach you how to take care of wigs. Kind of a funny story. I had a few different wigs because I burned them. If you get a synthetic wig and you get close to a barbecue grill, or you're making tea, they would just melt and shrivel up. And I caught my hair on fire. I turned around, and I had longer hair before, and they kept telling me, you need to cut your hair so you're used to shorter hair. And my brother was getting married. So no, I want long hair for my brother's wedding. And then I'll cut it off. Well, it's hair, it's trivial. But I did. It was important to me. So anyway, I got a longer wig. So that way people didn't know what I was going through. They didn't know the difference unless they looked real close. Well, this wig just melted all the way up. And it was just barely below my shoulders, and it smelled horrible. So kind of the funny things we laugh at. My mom came and stayed with me. And I called it white fuzz. My hair was starting to grow back, and I was getting radiation treatment. She hollered, she's like, hey, your blow dryer doesn't work. When did it stop working? And I just looked at her. I go, really? She's like, your blow dryer, it's not working. And I said, Mom, think about it. Am I going to blow dry my white fuzz? And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, not a big deal. But you learn to laugh about stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really is funny. And if you don't laugh, what are you going to do? Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. So, but through each day, you get through it. It's great now. Like I still go, and I still check with all of my doctors, my specialty doctors, if you will. And that's as important. I think about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I don't know. I thought, why? I'm not going to bother. I'm sick of going to doctors. But it is just as important now as it was then. I talked to some other survivors, and they kind of go through that phase where I'm done with doctors. If I get it, I get it, and that's it. But the sooner, once again, I can't emphasize this enough, the sooner they find it, the better chance of getting it, and the less treatments or the options are better. So again, that's why that self-care, even beforehand, watch what you intake, whether it's your food, your beverages, your vitamins, your products. There's other ways to help prevent it. It's not 100%, but it can help tremendously. I spent a lot of my time, instead of reading the big thick manual that I was given, and sorry, I didn't read it. I didn't want to know. I remember one time I was at the track meet, and it felt like needles were going through. And this was just a type of chemo I had. It doesn't mean that every treatment or every type's that way, because there's all kinds of different cocktails. But it felt like needles were going through my feet. And so the next appointment, I had my shoes off. And the nurse commented, and she said, your feet hurting like they got needles going through them? I'm like, yeah, how'd you know that? She said, that says that in the manual. You're to expect that. So I'd suggest read the manual, just so that way if there is something they can do to help. Not saying that doesn't mean if you have chemo, that's going to be what happens, because they're all different. But there's stuff they can do, whether it's before or after, to try and prevent just a healthy lifestyle. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect, or maybe skip the chocolate cake, have it on occasions, but less of the bad stuff in our bodies.
And that is something that I tell my patients. It's really so close to me, just because coming from a different country, I can see the difference between what we as Americans, and of course I'm an American now, I've been here more than I've been in Russia, so but I can see the difference in food, unfortunately. And I tell my patients that, it's really, really, really important to try to eat clean. It's really important to know what you're putting in your body. It's really important to know that you need to read ingredients, because if you look at the ingredients, a lot of times as a physician, I cannot understand some of the chemicals and some of the processing, flavoring or whatever they use to process and preserve food that we eat. And it's really scary that, for example, hot dogs, I don't recommend ever watching YouTube on how hot dogs are made. But honestly, if you bury them, if you unbury them in a year, they'll still be good, I'm sure. So, and to be able to have all of that processed stuff is definitely playing a huge, I don't have any evidence, but personally, and I feel like unfortunately our cancer rates are going up exponentially. I agree completely with you, Michelle. It's, of course, it's genetic too. However, I also believe it's what we put in our bodies. Um, we don't eat the best. The food industry, unfortunately, might not use the best products. So I definitely would recommend being more proactive and understanding what you're putting in your body. Um, we are obesity. That's another topic. Obesity rates in the United States, unfortunately, are skyrocketing. And one of the things that is important to know is that unfortunately, obesity does increase risk for a lot of female cancers because of too much estrogen. And a lot of people don't realize that obesity or being overweight, the fatty cells, adipose tissue, makes estrogen. So a lot of women who are overweight or obese, unfortunately, are at risk for whatever estrogen puts you at risk for, which does include breast cancer, unfortunately, endometrial or uterine cancer, ovarian cancer. So really, really important. It really starts with self-care, as you have mentioned earlier.
Well, thank you for this. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing your story and this incredible information. Thank you, Yulia, for all the information you're providing for our audience too. It's really, really powerful.
Candace, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I, definitely wanted to make sure to I really wanted actually Michelle to get on here as a breast cancer survivor. As I mentioned, I feel like this has become her mission to educate others about breast cancer. And because she was so young when she was diagnosed, I feel like it makes it even more important for her to share her story and to get her story out there, because she is young. She wants to be there for her boys. She wants to be there for her children. So it is really, really, really important to be aware of it. Once again, October is Breast Awareness Month, so really, really important to be aware of it, and prevention is the key.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Any final words before we switch topics slightly?
Get your exams, examine yourself. If anything's different, go ahead and go see your doctor. May not be anything, but could get a jump on it.
I cannot agree more.
Wonderful. So we're actually going to I have a segment called Who Said That, where I will give you a quote, and if you needed a clue, and you get one guess. And so
can we call a friend?
No, you can. No, you help each other, but you cannot call a friend. No. And so I will donate to the charity of your choice. What charity would you like me to donate if you are able to get the answer?
Do you have anything for breast cancer that you?
We've got local ones.
Candace, what kind of breast cancer charities do you personally know? Since we're discussing about breast cancer,
Sure.
It would be nice to be able to donate to the breast cancer.
Yes, and so and it's completely up to you. I mean, I can.
Okay, well, we can definitely research. We can definitely find one
Yes.
local, maybe.
Yes.
I know there's, and I can't think of the name. There's one. It's a program that goes in hospitals, and they teach, skincare and patients that are going through it or survivors, better nutrition and how to care, and then they give them like a makeup pack, and that's huge for women.
So maybe we can get more information for you and have, if we get this quote.
When we get this.
When we get this.
I mean, I think you have a good chance of getting this quote. It's one that I really like. And like I said, I will also give you a clue if you need it. But the quote is, tell me who said that. The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain.
And I even have this quote in my classroom,
Michelle,
but I don't know who it's about.
come on.
Would you like the clue?
Yes.
Okay, so this is from an American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, record producer, actress, author, businesswoman, and humanitarian known primarily for her work in country music. Country music.
She's not in us.
We need to phone a friend, Candace.
Anyone we're thinking.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, Candace, you're gonna give us another clue, please.
Okay, because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and because you're playing for a charity that supports breast cancer, I will give you an extra clue. So, one thing about her, okay, there is a film that took one of her songs, and it is by far one of the greatest songs of all time. And she made it a hit, but another well-known singer made this song a hit for a film.
You're gonna have to help me. That's the only one I can.
Okay, if we guess wrong, do we get another guess?
No, you don't. And so, this girl, I mean, really? So, and this country artist has been around a long time. She's an icon. Like
Martina McBride.
No, really? I'm gonna tell y'all who it is. Dolly Parton.
Really?
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Really?
Well, Miss Candace, you should have given us a different clue.
I should have known that because that saying's in I'm a vocational teacher in a class of women getting second chances. And I have that saying in my book, but I don't have the names. I should have known it.
It's all good.
But it was fun. We tried.
Yes, and the film I referenced was The Bodyguard. Whitney Houston, her Dolly Parton song "I Will Always Love You," she made famous. Dolly Parton made it famous. It did well, but when Whitney Houston did it, oh my gosh.
I didn't know Dolly Parton had a part in that. I did not know that either.
Yeah, she wrote that song. She wrote "I Will Always Love You." So.
Well, hey, listen, you learn something new every day, right?
That's true. But if you'll get me the name of your charity, I will still make a donation in honor of.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bellamy.
Yes, of course. So that was fun. I get a kick out of doing this. That's really a lot of fun. So the other thing is, as I mentioned, I'm also going to have your episode be part of my podcast, Strong Women in Medicine. And I have two questions that I ask on the podcast. And one of them is what are three things on your bucket list? And both of you, if you care to answer, that would be great.
Oddly enough, cancer did. I have a bucket list. I have small and big. One of my ones, within 5 years, I want to sponsor. I don't have a daughter, so I'd like to sponsor like a junior or senior in high school, behind the scenes, just to maybe shadow them if they don't have a female figure, or to get stuff for them.
That's awesome.
So they have a better senior year. That's small scale. I did another one for travel. We've done a couple of things. I'm trying to. Silly thing. I want to go to Herman with my husband. And we actually planned that for last weekend. We planned it in January. But it didn't happen this year because of COVID. It will in time. And it's only because we don't get very good cell service in Herman. And so then I can have them all to myself. And it's beautiful, beautiful scenery, God's country down there. The third thing, and this is silly, I kind of have different levels that I go for. My recent level was getting to watch my youngest son graduate. My next bucket list item is getting to watch my boys get married. I have just segments, after that it's hold my first grandchild. That way, times when they're tough or I'm doubting, it's like, no, God, you gave me this moment. So if, people probably look at me, and I wasn't a big crier. Now I'm thankful for every moment. But high school graduation was huge. So I set moments like that.
That's awesome.
Pretty amazing. Well, one of the things on my bucket list was supposed to happen this year, but it didn't happen due to COVID. So this is kind of an interesting story too. Ever since, I didn't mention this, but ever since I was little, my dream was to go to Africa and help women.
That's awesome.
I don't know why I picked Africa. I don't know. I just remember that when I was little. So my dream partially came true about 2 years ago. I went to Africa on a mission trip with my church. And it was an amazing experience because I was able to help people. But something inside, it felt like I needed to do more. I felt like it was maybe just putting a Band-Aid, and as a physician, delivering babies, doing hysterectomies, helping women, getting rid of their problems. I wanted to do something that will help, just like what I was doing here. So I was supposed to go to Africa and actually work with another OBGYN physician on a labor and delivery and do everything there. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I will make sure that happens because I definitely would like to do that. Another thing on my bucket list, I definitely want to make sure that I raise my kids God's way. I was saved. It will be 3 years in January. I was baptized. It will be 3 years in May. And it's different coming from a physician, just because obviously we study science and there's a little bit of, discrepancy between science and religion. But I have learned to put the two together, and I really want them to understand that. And trust in God the way that I am learning to. And the third thing, once again, something to do with God. I really want my patients, and I try really, really hard every single time I have a chance. And this is really, really important, Michelle. Faith is extremely important. So on my bucket list, I really would like to make sure that I tell patients, every single patient I see, introduce them to God, to be able to understand that whatever we want is what we want. It's not what He wants for us. And we need to give that up and do what He wants for us. And that's how we get to what He wants for us, and so we don't have to fight our being just because we don't know what we need. He does. So I definitely want to make sure that I let my patients understand that. And of course that helps with diagnosis like that, because if you don't have faith, it's going to be very difficult to go through treatment and survival and things like that.
Yes. And as a person of faith, I mean, my goodness, like you said, letting God have control. I've had those moments in my life my life as well, in terms of struggle. But it's just such a gift when you let go and let God do what He has for you. I mean, oh my goodness, I wouldn't be in some of the spaces I'm in. I wouldn't, be doing some of the art in terms of the podcast, the TV show, and different things if I just didn't trust God, and when these doors open, walk through them.
It's amazing how He uses you.
Yes, it is.
He uses you. You get into a pit, you don't think you can get out. And he uses you, and He's got the most funniest sense of humor.
Yes.
You just really need to tune in and be able to watch and understand.
Absolutely. And so my other question for you is, for both of you actually, what is the best advice you've ever received?
That we have said again, best advice.
The best advice you've ever received.
I would say probably be thankful for every single day. You don't know when you're not going to have any more days left. So definitely be thankful for waking up in the morning, be thankful for all of your blessings. You know, you will not be here without the bad. So definitely use the bad for good. Have faith, trust God, and He will take care of you.
That's awesome. And
I'm going to
Michelle?
say mine. I'm going to go back to my mom. Growing up, she used to tell us, have you been on your knees? We'd say, okay. You know, she'd say, what's bothering you? We could tell her. It didn't matter what it was. Have you been on your knees? One time I had a sick cow, and I didn't know what was wrong. And usually my paw could fix it, but that wouldn't go so well. She says, well, have you been on your knees about it? Have you taken that Bible and cried out your heart to God? So I literally took my Bible and I went to the barn, and in any situation, if you're not sure what to do, get on your knees.
Powerful. That's so good, you guys, both of you. That's so awesome. Well, my goodness, thank you. The time has flown by, but thank you so much for, both of you for being on Coffee Break with Candace and the Strong Women in Medicine podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, of course, of course. Any final words before we end?
Don't forget your exams monthly, not every October.
Awesome.
That is very true. Monthly cell breast exams.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you both so much. Take care.
Thank you
so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
You can't keep a good woman down, even when she falls down. Nothing can hold her down. She'll get back up, 'cause she is tough, and she'll put on her boots and strut. Put on her boots and strut. The runway's not long enough for a woman like you. She's strong, she's brave, with a light that will never fade. Fearless even when she feels afraid, 'cause she is tough. She'll get back up and put on her boots and strut. Put on her boots and strut. The runway's not long enough. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.